much. It's great to see both of you.
Oh, it's so great to meet you.
Oh, that's nice.
Your music has always helped me so much through so many hard moments in my life. You know, since you've been gone, really helped me when my dad left the house.
Oh,
but you know, now it's my
like, thank you.
But now it's my life would suck without you.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. That was very nice.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of what y'all are doing. I think this is the coolest thing ever, and I think a lot of families, especially I come from a family where I actually was estranged. I had an estranged father, and it didn't end up working out. And what I think is beautiful is that it was hard for y'all, but now you have this really amazing show that's like really cool, and it shows hope, I think, for a lot of people. Because some of us try.
Absolutely.
Some of us try, you know, and you try, and it just doesn't work. And so it's a really beautiful thing. So I'm excited to talk about it. But before we do that, I have to say it's the 20th anniversary of your sitcom.
Already?
Yes.
Wow.
It's so funny. So what's your favorite memory from that time?
Well, you know, it's very tough, Kelly, to be 42 in the morning and 61 at night. But my favorite memory, I think, is, you know, it's the odds of having a television show and having it be successful are like
Slim.
1,000,000 to 1.
Yeah.
But then to see your young daughter be around the set, 5 years old, 7 years old, a couple of times she was on the show, and then to go back and then see her now as this incredibly intelligent and forgiving young Gen Z is therapy well spent, Kelly.
Yeah. So wait, what was that experience for you at 5 and 7? I'm curious because my kids have been around set and they're 6 and 8 right now.
Yeah.
Was that cool?
I mean, it was amazing because, you know, you always hear, especially from school, especially like, you know, oh, your dad's on TV, your dad's on TV.
Yeah.
But, you know, going and being able to see how people work together, just seeing my dad being able to do what he does and me laughing along with him. And, you know, I used to go and actually make craft services around. I used to actually make little quesadillas and I used to walk around and give them to the whole stage. And
you're a polite, my kids just take from craft services. You're like serving people. My kids are like, where are the M&Ms? Yeah, that's amazing.
But it's like, you know, formative, being the backstage, seeing how things work, you get to see, and also how hard your parent works. You kind of get to have that work ethic instilled in you, and you kind of, like at least it was for me.
So nobody tells you in the moment, they wait 14 years and they say, you worked so hard, thank you so much.
I literally was about to say that. I'm like, that's literally why I do. I bring my kids sometimes to work because I'm like, I don't want you to think I'm just like leaving. Like I'm the breadwinner. You know, I'm the one making money for us. I'm the one like holding it down, and it's nice for them to get to see. I think they appreciate it. They're like, oh, we see what you do, and I think that is actually cool because they don't get it. They just think, why does everybody else's mom get to come to science lab and you don't? And you're like, I try. But do you remember the first time that you made your dad laugh? Did that feel like success?
Yes, you know, I used to love Singing in the Rain. It's still one of my favorite movies, and there's a song that says Make 'em Laugh, and there's a whole sequence where there's a dummy, and he's playing with the dummy and throwing it around, and I was like, oh my God, that was one of the first things I really saw that I was like, you can be crazy and slapstick and funny. And so I remember I had my mom go to Universal to like one of those little shops and get me a little doll.
Yeah.
And I did it on the couch in the middle of the living room, and
I
acted it from the beginning to end. And it was, you know, being able to perform. I think being in a house of performers and people being in the industry, like, you know, my parents have always been like, go for your dream. Just try to be the best comedian that you can be.
Speaking of children, you wrote a children's book, right?
I did write a children's book, yes. It's called Chupa Carter.
Chupacabra, like that, okay.
And it's about a young boy who befriends a chupacabra, and he grows up, his grandparents, like myself, my grandparents raised me, and I would always spend a lot of time, Kelly, looking at the moon at night, and I would wonder, looking at the moon, where all the people would be that were gonna be in my life when I was an adult. So it's one of those kind of metaphysical, but it's also very Latino, you know, all of our stories are, you know, horror in genre. Even kids' stories. You know, the Llorona and her kids, and then I was telling this white woman, and she was listening to me going, well, I hope you called Child Protective Services, because if you did it, you're as guilty as your aunt. I mean,
no, it was fine.
It's a story.
It was a story. So wait, can you explain the chupacabra for those who don't know?
A chupacabra is what would be, it's a type of animal that could be a human.
It's like a wolf hybrid.
It's wolf hybrid of a goat, maybe. It eats goats. No one's ever really seen it. It's in South America, but then it's in Mexico, and it's out here in Los Angeles.
It's like a Bigfoot figure.
Like a Bigfoot.
Yes.
I was gonna say, is this like a Bigfoot thing?
It's like a, it's like a Bigfoot in a smaller Latino shape. More like a Bigfoot in Halloween candy, the little fun size. Like you're not afraid, and then all your blood's drained from you. Then you're afraid. And so it's about befriending somebody.
Evil.
And you know, and it's like E.T. You know, I mean, just not even in these immigration. Everybody wants to go home at some point. So it's a bit of that. They take a journey and they find each other, and then from not having a family, the Chupacabra family helped my little self and put a family together.
Oh, that's great. So the new show, Lopez versus Lopez, is based on your lives, right?
Yeah, it's loosely based on our real
Is that
life.
hard?
You know what? I'm not going to say it's loosely. I'm the one that did all the that was wrong. It's not loosely based.
It's like, I know, but I'm just saying, is that hard? I don't know. Like, it's hard for me. Sometimes I write a lot about my real life in songs, right? It's hard for me to rehash that.
Yeah,
I
would have to say there are times where it is challenging, but where I like to think is that this is such an opportunity to heal, and I always wanted my pain to mean something. And you know what, as you have done, to reach out and carry much as people and know that healing isn't linear, but you're not perfect. And you know, just having empathy. You know, as you get older, you start to see your parents as people, and you know, maybe you understand some things. You don't have to forgive them, but you can understand. And you know, going backwards and healing, but also rebuilding something stronger for the future.
You're very healthy.
I'm very therapized.
Wow.
Everyone's like, where have you been? I'm like, therapy.
I was like, wow.
I would say that message probably conveyed much better in song. It sounds better somebody saying, "You were never there for me," as opposed to, "You were never there for me."
Yeah. No. If you lighten it with a nice melancholy melody.
Yes, exactly.
But it's good though that y'all have that communicative. I wish I would have had that. Like, my father passed away, so we never got that, and I tried so hard. A lot of people really want that and desire that and don't get that. So it's really remarkable and awesome.
We believe, you know, the first show had a different slant. You know, this is fathers and daughters, and that relationship is worth, you know, preserving and trying to get back if there's fathers out there not speaking to their daughters. You know, I when I was growing up, was very tough, and people would just disappear from your lives.
Yeah.
And I finally realized that as an adult, that I couldn't and didn't want to do that or go down that road anymore, and that this person right here was the one love of my life, and that the one I would never let go for anything. So I would.
So it's based on your lives. So do y'all also have a lot of comedy with it? You have a lot of humor.
Oh yeah, no, I have to explain that to people.
Yeah, I love that though.
It comes from a real place, and the comedy is, you know, release. I feel like laughter is such a release, and so, you know, there's some times where the only time that we could communicate was having jokes at each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. Welcome to all my friendships.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait,
you know, you give your friends a hard time, you give your family a hard time.
That's a love language.
Yes, absolutely.
For some of us. So why or how long did you two go without talk? Like, how long was it that y'all didn't talk?
Sometimes it was on and off, but I think the longest was like almost 3 years that we didn't speak.
It was 3 years.
Yeah.
It's a little fuzzy for me because it's the same 3 years that those drinks Four Loko came out.
So it could have been 3 years. It could have been 3 minutes.
It could have been.
Yeah.
Nighttime, daytime. Come on, it's the same really attitude you want to have. And I think sometimes the further you get away from it, the more pride or the more that someone is stubborn, the more time that goes away from it, and you know that it's probably right to make amends, but it becomes so difficult to take that very first step.
But it takes two people to do that.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the catch. So how did you mend fences enough to make the show? Like, I guess my question is, like, how did you go from not talking to, like, all of a sudden, let's do a show together?
Really the pandemic. You know, my dad is immunocompromised. My mom donated a kidney to my dad 17 years ago. And so, you know, he had underlying, I was like, what is it? Underlying?
Yeah, like a situation to where he shouldn't have been around people with.
Exactly. So, you know, we kind of really came together as a unit, my mom, my dad, and I. And, you know, I started sharing. It was even interesting, like, my family really hasn't been together in 10 years. And so I was just kind of watching, and they made one TikTok I was just filming them because I thought it was hilarious because, you know, even though my parents were divorced, they had so much history together.
Yeah.
You know, like my mom was still trying to fix his hair or pop his zits on his nose. And, you know, so I just thought it was hilarious. And so I just thought, you know, we're all inside. Someone might laugh and find this. And then I get it, and it has like 15 million views in like a day.
I just love that y'all came together in COVID, and like a lot of us didn't make it. Like in COVID.
No.
Yeah, like a lot of us
provided an opportunity, and I think how we took it was, you know, we can come together, and like family was really important, you know, taking inventory of the people around you, and
fresh perspective.
They came over my house for my birthday when we had one of those pandemic birthdays where people just wave as they go by your house. And
he actually had a mariachi band outside.
Oh, I love a mariachi.
And they were just the guys around the house. And you know, immediately, you know, they come into my house and just started to throw things away that they felt didn't belong in the house, although it's my house.
Okay, you had like 8 birthday cakes. Like he had sent like 8 birthday cakes.
But one was made by a woman and the other 7 were made in a store, so the one with the woman had to go in the trash.
And then my mom threw it in the trash, and then my mom like brought it out of the trash, and my dad's like, take it out. And my mom's like, okay, and she put it back. He's like, no!
And then I took it out of the trash, cut a slice, and ate it because no one's gonna throw a cake in the trash in my house.
Yeah, you've at least got to try it.
It was tough to wash it down with the milk I found at the bottom of the cake, but then...
Oh my God, that's gross. So wait, your dad famously plays golf. Are you into golf at all?
I played in golf just to spend time with him. I actually retired at a very early age because there was one time that he took me out. We were up in Pebble Beach, and you know I had my own little set of clubs. And
your first time to golf was Pebble Beach?
I know.
Congratulations!
Thank
I'm like, wow.
I know. And so there was a little course there, and you know, sometimes it's always been Lopez versus Lopez. Like we kind of sometimes butt heads, and you know I was getting annoyed. He was just like trying to teach me how to swing, and I was like, oh, all right, you want me to teach me how to swing? I'll show you how I swing. And I just put all my might in it, and I got a hole-in-one.
What?
I got a hole-in-one.
You Happy Gilmore
at like 11 years old, and I just turned around, like, you know, I can't see the ball, and my dad's, all the blood just came out of his face. He just was, and people back there were like, did she just shoot a hole-in-one? My dad, like, yeah.
Because are you both emotions? You're like angry and proud.
Well, no, I mean, there's a second half to the story where the ball went in the hole, and then Mayan somehow got the golf cart stuck on the rail, so 2 wheels were moving, but none of them touched the ground. So it took a little longer to get back to celebrate than we would have liked. Because the golf cart got stuck on the track.
She Happy Gilmore'd it.
Yeah,
I did.
And she was just missing it by that much.
It's all in the hips. You know?